For those of us who wear red and gold, there are certain traumas that don't heal. The image of Patrick Mahomes, our Messiah, being hunted like a defenseless animal in that Super Bowl against the Eagles, taking 6 sacks, is seared into our souls. That night wasn't just a loss, it was a deafening wake-up call, a giant spotlight pointed at our biggest weakness, the offensive line. So this offseason, our general manager, Brett Veach, promised to fix the problem. But as every callous Chiefs fan knows, sometimes the cure can feel worse than the disease. In a move that made the entire Red Kingdom raise an eyebrow, Veach opened up the wallet and dropped a 2-year, $30 million contract in the lap of Jaylon Moore. On paper, a reinforcement. In practice, a high-stakes gamble that already has a whiff of buyer's remorse. Why does this specific signing cause us so much discomfort? Why does $30 million for an offensive tackle make us swallow so hard? To understand, we need to look at who Jaylon Moore is. He is not a decorated veteran. Moore was a 5th-round pick by the 49ers in 2021, a project player who spent most of his career in limbo, serving as a backup swing tackle. In 4 seasons, he's only started 12 games. It was only at the end of 2024 that he got a 5-game stretch as a starting left tackle where, to be fair, he wasn't a complete disaster. And apparently that small sample size, those 5 games, were enough for the Chiefs front office to decide to back up the Brinks truck for him. This is where the fan skepticism settles in. Was this a genius analysis by Brett Veach, who saw a diamond in the rough that no one else did? Or was it an act of desperation, an overreaction to the Super Bowl trauma, paying a premium price for a generic product? We want to believe in the first option. We have faith in Veach, but our experience teaches us to be skeptical. Paying $30 million for a player with such a limited resume is like buying a luxury car based on a test drive around the block. It might be great, but the risk of the engine blowing up on the first long road trip is massive. The conflict, the real drama of this soap opera, doesn't end with Moore's contract. It intensifies dramatically with what happened weeks later in the 2025 NFL Draft. As if taking out an insurance policy on his own risky bet, Brett Veach used our valuable 1st-round pick to select a left tackle. Josh Simmons, the Colossus from Ohio State, was our choice. And with that move, Jaylon Moore's situation instantly became precarious. The Chiefs created a Game of Thrones scenario at the most important position on the offensive line. On one side, we have the newly paid veteran, Moore. On the other, the high-caliber rookie, the hope for the future, Simmons. The challenge is clear. Simmons is recovering from a knee injury, which likely gives Moore the starting job to begin the season, the chance to protect Mahomes' blindside in Week 1. But the leash on him is incredibly short. The moment Simmons is 100% healthy and adapted to NFL speed, the countdown for Moore begins. Every snap, every missed block will be analyzed under a microscope. If he doesn't play at an elite level from day 1, he will become the highest-paid backup in the history of the Kansas City Chiefs, a walking reminder of a bet that may have gone horribly wrong. Let's dive into the numbers, because this is where the fans' headache really begins. The structure of Jaylon Moore's contract is a financial puzzle that could haunt us. This season, his salary cap hit is $11.2 million. The real problem lies in 2026. In the 2nd year of his contract, that number balloons to an eye-watering $18.7 million. Why is this structure so concerning? Because it creates immense pressure for Moore to be not just good, but spectacular. A cap hit of that magnitude is reserved for franchise cornerstones. Paying that amount to a player who has, to date, 5 decent starts is financially irresponsible, unless the front office owns a crystal ball. This limits our flexibility to re-sign other stars, to pursue pieces on the market. Every dollar spent on a questionable performer is a dollar less to build around Mahomes. It's a risk that a dynasty, which must be smart with its money to stay on top, maybe shouldn't be taking. Those of us who are already worrying about future extensions for Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith look at these numbers and feel a shiver down our spine. The bet on Moore wasn't just on the field. It was a heavy wager against our own salary cap. Fortunately, amidst this tangled web of risk and worry, Brett Veach gave us a small light at the end of the tunnel, a buyer's remorse clause. Jaylon Moore's contract was structured with an escape hatch. If Moore doesn't live up to expectations in this first season, if he's outplayed by the rookie Josh Simmons, or if he simply proves he isn't worth the investment, the Chiefs can cut him after 1 year. The pill would be bitter, but not fatal. Cutting Moore would result in $10.7 million in dead cap. It's a financial gut punch, the price of a mistake. However, this maneuver would save $8 million against the 2026 salary cap, giving us crucial relief. This is the partial resolution, the triumph of contract intelligence over a potential failure in talent evaluation. Why is this clause so important to us, the fans? Because it shows that while the front office may have been extremely optimistic, they were also pragmatic. They created a Plan B. It's not the ideal scenario, but knowing that we aren't locked into a disastrous contract for 2 full years allows us to breathe a little easier. It's proof that even in his boldest bets, Veach is still playing chess, not Russian roulette. In the end, the Jaylon Moore saga in Kansas City is the personification of life at the top of the NFL. To remain the king, you can't stand still. You have to take risks, make bold wagers to plug the holes before they sink the ship. Kansas City looked at Moore's small sample size and bet that it was the trailer for a blockbuster movie. His signing, followed by the drafting of Josh Simmons, creates a fierce competitive environment that, in theory, should bring out the best in both players. Best case scenario, Moore plays like a Pro Bowler. Worst case scenario, Moore crumbles under the pressure, Simmons doesn't recover well, and we enter the season with the same vulnerability that cost us a Super Bowl. The pressure is squarely on Jaylon Moore. He doesn't just carry the weight of protecting Patrick Mahomes' blindside. He carries the weight of a $30 million contract and the shadow of a first-round pick in his rearview mirror. Now, the controversial question for the Red Kingdom: was the Moore signing a monumental miscalculation, a post-Super Bowl panic that we'll live to regret? Or was it a masterstroke by Veach to create the deepest, most competitive offensive line we've ever had? Sound off below, because this debate is gonna last a while. How about those Chiefs?